All right, let's get into some really fascinating new research on how digital platforms are starting to tackle one of the biggest headaches in sustainability, our absolute mountains of industrial waste. We all think recycling is the answer, but what happens when the recycling system itself is completely broken?
Just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, look at this number, 7.8 million tons. That is how much textile waste comes out of factories in India alone, every single year. A huge chunk of this stuff, which is potentially super valuable, just gets lost, shredded into low-grade rags or dumped in a landfill. So how in the world do you even begin to fix a problem that big?
Well, to find a potential answer, we're diving into a 2025 paper from Quynh Do and Mark Stevenson over at Lancaster University. They've done a really deep analysis of how a new kind of digital platform could be the key to solving this exact crisis. And their work is incredibly timely because it basically offers up a practical roadmap for creating these circular supply chains that, let's be honest, almost every industry is desperately trying to build right now.
Okay, so here's the crux of the problem. We've got this major disconnect in the supply chain. The paper has a great way of framing this. They call it a standoff between the niche and the regime. Just think of them as two completely different worlds that really need each other, but they just can't seem to talk the same language. So on one side you have the niche. These are the innovators, the new recyclers with amazing advanced technology. They can literally turn old fabrics back into brand new fibers. But, and this is a big but, they need clean, high-quality traceable waste to make it work. Then on the other side you've got the regime. This is the huge existing network of informal waste collectors. It's messy, it's fragmented, totally opaque, and it's all built for low-grade downcycling, turning scraps into rags. It just can't provide the good stuff that the niche innovators need.
And this standoff creates three major tensions. First, a structural one. The network is so fragmented and secretive that it makes getting a predictable supply of waste super expensive and unreliable. Then there's an operational tension. Factories have really poor waste management, so everything gets mixed together and contaminated. And finally, you've got a huge social tension. The whole system relies on informal labor, which creates massive ethical and compliance risks for the big global brands who want to buy this recycled material.
So how do you bridge this enormous gap? Well, the paper's big idea is a digital platform that acts as a whole new kind of broker. And this isn't just about connecting a buyer and a seller. It's about actively rewiring the entire system from the ground up.
To really understand this, the researchers dug into a real-world case study, a platform called Reverse Resources. And I love this description. It's been called an Uber of textile waste. That just perfectly captures the mission, right? To create a transparent, on-demand network for a resource that up until now has been totally chaotic and hidden. Now, the academic term for what Reverse Resources is doing is brokerage. But what's so cool here is how this paper completely flips the script on that idea. See, normally theories focus on a broker's intent, like are they trying to bring people together or keep them apart? This paper argues that no, in a messy transition like this one, what a broker does is a direct response to those specific tensions we just talked about.
So how does the platform actually pull this off? It's not just a marketplace. The research shows that it plays this critical dual role. It's simultaneously fixing the broken structure of the network and building new skills for the people inside of it.
The first role is what they call structural brokerage. This is all about fixing the system's broken plumbing, basically. It's creating a transparent digital architecture, like a map for all these resources and data, letting them flow freely where before they were all blocked up and hidden away.
And its key strategy is this brilliant concept called semi-disintermediation. The platform directly connects the high-tech recyclers with the factories making the waste, cutting out a lot of the middlemen. But, and here's the clever part, it doesn't get rid of everyone. It redefines the role of those local, on-the-ground waste handlers. It turns them into formal, value-adding service providers who sort and clean the materials. And just like that, the waste flows become visible, traceable, and way more valuable.
But, fixing the structure is only half the battle. This brings us to the platform's second, and maybe even more innovative role, capability brokerage. This is all about the human element. The fact that people in the old informal system just don't have the skills or the processes to meet these new, much higher standards.
So the platform actively builds those skills. Through standardization, it provides training and really clear guidelines, teaching factories exactly how to separate their waste correctly right from the start. And through legitimization, it creates a code of conduct and uses audits to help those informal handlers get up to speed with the social and safety standards that global supply chains demand. So it's not just connecting them, it's actively educating and upgrading the whole network.
And the real-world impact is just undeniable. Here's a direct quote from one of the manufacturers in the study. Before, their waste was just a problem they had to get rid of. Through this platform, it became a valuable resource. I mean, that is a massive shift in mindset, and it's all driven by this new digital infrastructure.
So what's the big takeaway here? Why does this research matter beyond just textile waste? Well, it gives us a really powerful framework for understanding how digital tools can drive real, systemic change, even in these incredibly complex, old-school industries.
For the academics watching, this paper offers a brand new, tension-driven model of brokerage that's just way better for analyzing these messy, real-world situations. And for the practitioners, the people actually trying to build this stuff, it's a clear blueprint. It shows you how to use a digital platform to manage a reverse supply chain, how to bring informal workers into the fold ethically, and crucially, how making data transparent creates a ton of value for everybody involved.
And that leaves us with this final, really thought-provoking question. If this model of structural and capability brokerage can transform textile waste from trash into a valuable, traceable resource, what other informal economies could be completely reinvented by this exact same approach? Think about e-waste or agricultural byproducts. The possibilities are huge. Definitely something to think about.